honorable members of the Parliament of Australia, my fellow compatriots in Australia, I'm pleased to meet you all. This conference is held to mark the 38th anniversary of the massacre of political prisoners in Iran. In July 1988, Khomeni, the founder of religious dictatorship in Iran, issued the decree for the execution of members of the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran in prisons across the country. He ordered that PMOI prisoners who remained steadfast in their positions be executed immediately. This referred to those who, despite years of torture and abuse, refused to abandon the struggle for the freedom of the Iranian people. Subsequently, 30,000 people, 90% of whom were members of the PMOI, were hanged. This book contains the names of 5,000 PMOI members who were massacred. Why did the regime commit this horrible crime? Because it saw and still sees the PMOI as the main threat to its existence, because it was afraid of being overthrown, and this is a fear that continues to this day. Throughout the past 38 years, the regime has maintained the pattern of the 1988 massacre. Every time it brutally suppresses the people's resistance and uprisings. Despite all these, the resistance to change the regime continues. The people continue to rise up in protests. The resistance units, which are part of the organized PMOI network in Iranian cities, carried out 200 anti-repression operations across Iran's provinces in the past months. In recent months, 9 members of the PMOI have been executed. Dozens of other young individuals who participated in the uprising have also been hanged. In the regime's courts, they bravely declared that they had risen up to overthrow the regime. And just before their execution, they collectively sang songs of freedom inside prison. I must highlight the words of Mehdi Khanegi, a member of the PMOI. He was a 26-year-old law graduate who was recently hanged on July 22. In one of his final letters, Mehdi wrote, "As a resistance unit from our captive homeland, Iran, I pledge to remain faithful to the freedom, justice, and liberation of Iran." Mehdi and others who were executed represent Iran's young generation who have taken up the fight to overthrow the regime. The regime welcomes war conditions that have lasted for about 15 months, using the situation as cover to confront its main enemy, the Iranian people and resistance. Amid the war, the ruling regime also attempts to conceal its fundamental weakness. Its empty show of force is a major deception. A clear sign of the regime's deadly impasse are deep divides at the top of the ruling establishment. Today in Iran, only those who want the dictatorship to continue are advocating for war. On one side is the ruling regime, on the other are the remnants of the Shah's regime who, through exaggeration and media lies, attempt to return Iran to the previous monarchical dictatorship that was overthrown. They have stated that their goal is to bring back Savak, the Shah's secret police. This is the same agency responsible for torturing and killing thousands of opponents. They have also said their goal include suppressing nationalities and establishing a state of emergency. However, their most significant political impact has been helping the current regime stay in power. A country whose people pay such a heavy price for freedom, such as the 1988 massacre, will neither tolerate the current dictatorship nor return to the past. In this regard, the National Council of Resistance of Iran has raised the flag of peace and freedom. The National Council of Resistance of Iran, the coalition of the PMI and other groups, was formed 45 years ago. The NCRI represents the desire of the majority of the Iranian people for a democratic republic based on the separation of religion and state and free election. Honorable representatives, for years the Iranian resistance has pursued a justice movement for the victim of the 1988 massacre. In the very first weeks following the start of the killings, the leader of the Iranian resistance, Rejuy, sent telegrams to the Secretary General of the United Nations exposing the secret decree for the massacre alongside a campaign of widespread arrests and executions. As a result of these efforts, the United Nations General Assembly included the issue of the 1988 massacre of political prisoners in its resolution for the first time last year. Also in 2024, Professor Javid Rahman, the UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Iran, published a very important report on the 1988 massacre, describing it as a crime against humanity and genocide. We expect the international community and particularly the Australian Parliament and government to take the initiative in adopting effective measures against the massacres and executions in Iran. These include prosecuting Iran's ruling criminals by governments under the principle of universal jurisdiction, referring the case of the 1988 massacre of political prisoners as a crime against humanity, along with the regime's other major crimes against the Iranian people to the UN Security Council, including an end to executions in Iran as a key demand of the entire Iranian people in any international agreement. In conclusion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the initiative and efforts of Mr. Rob Mitchell and other distinguished lawmakers and dignitaries in support of the Iranian resistance. Thank you all very much.